What's up, CBS Sports HQ YouTube fans? I'm Erik Kuselias, and I'll be breaking down the NFC East division today with futures, picks, props, and more. Here we go. Yeah, Dallas. How about them Cowboys? I'm Erik Kuselias. Look, they're on Hard Knocks. They're very interesting, and they got a lot of questions. What do we think about Dallas this year? Let's take a look at their win projection. I'm almost throwing last year out. With the Dak injury and the offensive line injuries, they're at 9.5. I'll lean over. I liked it better at 9. But, you know, you're always wondering. I always bet against Dallas. This might be the year I flip. They haven't been to the title game in 25 years. They're an easy team to bet against because the public loves them, but in reality, they're very mediocre. They have a bad D, but that could mean high-scoring shootouts. It all depends on Dak's health and the offensive line health. There are no Dak props up because we don't know how healthy he is. But in his last 21 games, 46 touchdowns, averaging 322 passing yards. When he plays, he's been great lately statistically. Same thing with Zeke. Zeke with Dak and that offensive line is actually an underrated player. Zeke without Dak, without that offensive line, was a very overrated player last year. You know, when he played with Dak last year, he had 6 touchdowns in 5 games, averaged 5 catches, that put him on pace for 80, and was over 100 yards every game but 1. Makes it tough to evaluate, but if you believe Dak's going to be healthy, you want to grab Zeke and you want to play those props over. As far as that offensive line, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, they're both all pros. They missed a combined 20 starts last year. They should be back. I'm not willing to bank my fantasy season on Dak and Zeke because of the health situation. Here's what I say. It's like the golf analogy, right? You can't win the tournament on Thursday or Friday, but you can lose it. You can't win your league on your first 3 picks, but you can lose it. So I'll let somebody else roll the dice. I don't roll the dice with my first 3 picks. I go safe, 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 and then I win with my knowledge in the second half of the draft. I'm not sure about Dak. I need more information on the health, so let somebody else take him. Yeah, Philadelphia. All right, Eagles. Now, look, if you can't spot the sucker in the room, it means you are the sucker in the room. And I say to you, if you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan, who's the worst team in the division? If it's not you, go ahead, give it to me. Who? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's probably you. And that over-under, which was 7, dropped to 6.5. I'm going to go under. I think you have a better chance to finish last than make the playoffs. And you finishing last in the division is plus 200. I'll take that. I'll take you to finish last at 2-to-1 money in my favor. Nick Sirianni, I think he's going to take his lumps because the talent isn't there. I mean, look, they haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since 2014. Last 2 years, their top 2 receivers haven't combined for 1,000 yards. Now, I know they drafted Devonta Smith, but it's got to be a year away. Small rookie receivers generally don't make big impacts because it's a timing thing with them. You can't just throw it up and have them go get it like they're 6'4". So it's going to take some time, especially because Jalen Hurts hasn't had a lot of reps. Now, I love Jalen Hurts. He squats almost 600 pounds. Boom! But I don't know if he's going to be accurate enough. Only 52% completion last year. That was the worst of any starter. I will take him over on his rushing props. He was on pace last year in his starts to have over 1,000 rushing yards and 12 rushing touchdowns, but I'll go under on the passing props. I think he's way more of a runner than a passer and more than maybe any other player this side of Lamar Jackson. As for Miles Sanders, he's a guy that I'm not in love with. He's small. They pull him at the goal line, and he dropped 20% of the passes thrown to him. That was the worst of any player. He had the worst drop rate of any player in the NFL. So if you're not great in the pass game and you're not great at the goal line, you can't play on my team. He's just a guy, and this is just a team, and they're probably going to finish last. Yeah, football team. Washington football team. WFT. Sometimes made you feel like WTF. You know, why the face? Because sometimes I made this face looking at this team. Just wasn't that great, but somehow they found their way to the playoffs. 7-9. This year, I think they're going to be better. Now, that just ticked up to 8.5, which annoys me because I liked it better over at 8, but I'll still take it over at 8.5. This is a team I think that has a winning record. They're going to rival Dallas for the best offensive line in this division, and they have unquestionably the best defense in this division. This is an elite defense, in fact, and my team prop for them to win the NFC East at 225, and it's dropping, so you got to grab it now. It used to be 260. I think they will win the division, and I like them at plus 225. That's a very good bet. Individual prop, give me Chase Young over 8.5 sacks. I think he could be the defensive player of the year. I'm buying that this kid is an absolute stud. Fantasy-wise, after you deal with this defense, which you want, and Chase Young, regard Ryan Fitzpatrick. Last 16 games he started, he averages 300 passing yards and has 32 touchdowns. That's good. And this coaching staff, they're the second most pass happy over the last 2 years. He is an incredibly underrated fantasy player, and he's your backup quarterback. And Terry McLaurin is going to eat in this offense. You watch. This is the perfect guy because Fitz likes having a guy. He likes having a guy that he can trust, and that's the guy that he can trust. As for Logan Thomas, I know in the second half he was good, but Fitz has never been a guy that loves his tight end. So I think he's a little overrated. He's good, and if you want to give him to me in a draft, I'll take him, but I don't have him ranked as like the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th tight end like some folks do. I have him more like 10, 11, 12, so I think he's a little overrated, but I don't think the team's overrated. I like Washington. Yeah, G-Men, Big Blue New York Giants. I'm Erik Kuselias. Look, this team started horribly last year. Wasn't the first time they started horribly recently. They were 0-5. They were 1-7. Ugh. And then the light went on. And they were 5-3 in the second half. But it still feels like they're a year away. I have lots of questions. Is Daniel Jones a franchise quarterback? Is Saquon Barkley healthy? Can he stay healthy? And is the defense for real? If you don't have yes to a lot of those questions, you're not going to like this team. That win total of 7, I sort of lean under. Wait till you see the schedule. Look at the road games for the Giants and how they start. Brutal. How about at Washington, at New Orleans, at Dallas, at Kansas City, at Tampa Bay? Good luck with all that. Now, from a fantasy perspective, Saquon might be ready for week 1, but on their preseason telecast, when they were playing the Cleveland Browns, they said it could be a month. Ugh. I always say, first early picks, be safe in fantasy. I'm not sure he's safe. Plus, the offensive line isn't great. Only Carson Wentz was sacked more, and I don't love running backs with bad lines. And bet against the D. Yeah, they were better last year, but they were a little lucky too. And bet against Kenny Golladay, my number 1 prop for this team. Bet against him having over 1,000 yards. Hamstrings always linger. I never, ever, ever trust a hamstring injury. He's not even practicing. Be very, very, very careful. Look, my dad is 86 years old, been a lifelong Giants fan, so it kills me to say it, but I'm not sold on this team. Sorry, Dad. And now I feel like a bad son. So I changed my mind. The Giants win the Super Bowl. There you go. Always got to stay in Dad's good graces.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.